Nobody was allowed in it. And the last time they had a closed session had to do with Nasera, and I have that at omegansoreliars.com, where there was strong-arming them about this whole Nasera program that's coming. Of course, they're trying to change the name. But that's the beast economic system on Earth. That's what they're going to enforce with the chip implantation. But there was a list of things supposedly leaked out from this closed session meeting of Congress that they had talked about. And of course, as far as the media is concerned, they were talking about Bush's surveillance provisions in his bill, and that's what they gave for media consumption. But apparently what they were really talking about behind closed doors was the imminent collapse of the U.S. economy to occur by September of this year, the imminent collapse of U.S. federal government finances by February of 2009, so we have an economic collapse by 2008, September of 2008, and a government collapse in February 2009. And I've warned folks that whoever was president in 2009 would hand over the power and control of the United States to the Antichrist. And so here's a timetable they're giving us. February of 2009. Number 3, the possibility of civil war inside the USA as a result of the collapse. And that would be this September, if not February of next year. Advanced roundups of insurgent U.S. citizens likely to move against the government. The detention of those rounded up at Rex 84 camps constructed throughout the USA. The possibility of retaliation against members of Congress for the collapses. The location of safe facilities for members of Congress and their families to reside during expected massive civil unrest. The unnecessary and unavoidable merger of the United States with Canada and with Mexico. And the issuance of a new currency, the Amero, for all three nations as the proposed solution to the coming economic Armageddon. A couple weeks ago I said I was going to talk about the FEMA camps in Rex 84. Lord wanted me to talk about the coming war against the saints. And I don't even remember what I was talking about. I just kind of ran out of time. But he still has me back at that because it's coming, folks. Back in the 80s, this whole thing with Oliver North and what was it, Iran Gate, Arms Gate, whatever it was, selling arms. And he traveled the country as some kind of a hero being beaten up by our president and Congress or whatever for putting up a security system. And one of the things about that whole thing is it makes me sick because I was pretty much just a kid at the time. But my parents had dragged me to go listen to Oliver North speak, and so we went to the old front row in Cleveland, Ohio to listen to him speak. And the Republicans are so schmoozled on him. He's a Christian, he's a publican, he's a Republican. And at that time I had no idea of any aspect of the New World Order at all. I had no idea. I was totally clueless. I was just a kid. My late teens probably, somewhere in the middle. But it makes me sick because now that I look back at it, the whole time he was traveling around the country on speaking engagements, trying to set him up as a hero. He's planning our death through Rex 84 because he was the one that Reagan had put in charge of this Rex 84 program. And of course you look at what Rex 84 is, and it was the future internment of Christians and patriots in internment camps. And of course we've seen Bush funding it a couple years ago, giving Halliburton the contract to actually construct these internment camps. There have been pictures circulating over the internet for years of these internment camps, and they're not what you'd expect when you see them. They're just fenced-in areas with barbed wire coiled towards the inside to keep people from climbing out of them. People have seen them and gotten pictures of them near water supply areas, out in the middle of deserts and woods where it would take a train or even an airplane or a boat to even get to these camps. FEMA centers in every major city. They could take over like the Cleveland Convention Center or any city's convention centers, they could take those over and use them to round up as processing centers to round up civilians. And that one just kind of like knocked the breath out of me lately, because I've been talking about it for so long that when you know it's coming and it's right around the corner, it's just almost, it's like can't believe it's here, But it's coming, and it is here. Right now, we're looking at a controlled demolition. Because they knew last year there was no gold in the vaults. I think they knew, I knew, and a couple of smart bankers knew that the vaults were totally empty of gold. And the only thing propping up the economy was nobody was talking about it. Just trying to give people some time, buying them some time so they could get out and prepare for the coming famine and economic crash we're going to have. Another thing is, when I look at this whole thing with the location of safe facilities for members of Congress and their families to reside during expected massive civil unrest, that's a joke. And it's one of those things where your heart just hits the floor because they're all going to be killed. Satan has no loyalty, folks, even his own. We may not like the members of Congress, and they may be at blame for a lot of things, but there are still some good people in Congress. I have to believe that not all of them are lizards or greys or taken over and soul scalped. That there has to be somewhere, especially the new ones that were just put in, or somehow, somewhere, some normal humans with families left in Congress. They're all going to be killed. They're going to be killed. I saw that years ago, that when this whole thing starts going down, the first ones on the trains, the red-listed, aren't necessarily the Christians, although Satan wants all these government officials to believe that, we're going to round up the illegal aliens, we're going to round up the possible troublemakers, we're going to round up the Christians and the patriots and the big mouths. They're going to be the first ones rounded up, folks. And they have been. I mean, after 9/11, I was hearing from people that saw lines and lines of people in handcuffs getting on trains, and they were white-collar professionals. They had suits on, they had ties, they had dresses, government employees, to get them, to shut them up, get them out of the way. And that's exactly what they're going to do. When they no longer need this Congress of ours, they're going to move them to a safe facility. They're going to move them all to a safe facility so they get them all in one place so they can round them up and take them to their next real destination, which is going to be a slaughter chamber. And a lot of these underground cities that have been built, and the promises of the government and the military, help us defeat the New World Order, fight against the New World Order, or help us get these plans through, and we'll protect you in one of our underground cities and bases. And, folks, the Lord told me that those underground cities and bases are going to become those tombs. It's going to become their tombs. Either way, they're dead. So even if the government doesn't willfully kill them, like they will, the politicians, they will die eventually anyway, because those underground cities and bases are going to become their tombs. And I have no joy in talking about it. It's just one of those things. There's just going to be so much death and destruction coming up. They talk about this unavoidable merger of the United States, Canada, and Mexico. That is so far beyond my worries right now, because that would be after massive martial law here in America, and that's just what puts a 100-pound brick on your head, is knowing that before that even comes about, there's going to be 50, 60, 70, 100, maybe 150, 200 million Americans killed. The coming martial law, and I put this link on my website for the End Game Plan. You can go to endgameplan.info. And it talks about the government's plan to round up all the illegal immigrants they have allowed through our borders, just so they can hide behind the illegal roundup of Christians and patriots under the guise of illegal immigrants. And now rounding up, having this massive roundup plan, and they call it the End Game Plan, it makes you realize why they opened the borders up for so long and just let the Mexicans cross the border.